Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! You are watching the official Descendants of Zombies podcast on YouTube. I say it's the official Descendants of Zombies podcast because I am the only guy on YouTube who uploads this many videos with Descendants of Zombies, making it the official Descendants of Zombies podcast. And even if it is the only Descendants of Zombies podcast on YouTube, that makes us the best because we have thousands of people subscribe to this YouTube channel. People are subscribing to this YouTube channel every single day. Every single time they watch a video, they hit that subscribe button because they have an opinion to share on Descendants of Zombies. Perhaps sharing their favorite moments of being a Descendants of Zombies fan, the Worlds Collide Tour, or Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland offering their predictions, which is something I really, really love about you guys. You never shy away from offering your predictions of what you think is going to happen next. I've heard everything from Red and Chloe hitting it off to Pink providing us with some conflict in the franchise for the first time ever. I'm really excited to see where we go from here. How I've been preparing myself for the sequel, Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland, is I've been playing Disney Speedstorm and playing it inspired by the Alice in Wonderland characters. So that includes Alice, the Queen of Hearts, the Mad Hatter, and the tracks inspired by Alice in Wonderland. The thing about Alice in Wonderland I think everybody tends to forget is how legendary that story is. I mean, I remember watching the Alice in Wonderland animated series, and that wasn't yesterday. That was probably about 27 years ago. Almost 30 years ago, I saw the Alice in Wonderland animated series, the TV show years ago, and then Disney came out with this live-action version of it. It was a very short-lived live-action series, but I do remember watching it on Disney Channel many years ago. It was incredible. I think that Alice in Wonderland's rise to popularity definitely has transcended for many generations, and now being a part of the Descendants franchise, this is a perfect opportunity for Alice in Wonderland characters to kind of come into its own and gain the respect that I think it's deserved for a very long time. And the thing is about Alice in Wonderland characters, there are more fans of Alice in Wonderland characters than ever given credit for. I know The Rise of Red received its fair share of criticism when the Alice in Wonderland characters saw their introduction into the franchise, but they did a fabulous job. I think that Kylie Cantrell, Malia Baker, Ruby Rose Turner did a great job bringing these characters to life and really made us all feel inspired, myself included. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I love the Descendants franchise for the spin it took in 2024. I know a lot of people will forever and always prefer the original cast, and I get that because I talk a lot about the original cast too on this show. If I didn't talk about the original cast so much, I would never have missed them. But I do miss them so much because of how much they offered to the original story. Because this is where it all began. This is where the story of Descendants first originated, and it was because of Dove Cameron, it was because of Sophia Carson, who had no backstories whatsoever to fall back on for these characters. They really had to bring these characters to life. And man, did they ever do a fabulous job. Dove Cameron was such a fierce individual. She hit the gym every single night, getting in shape to be Mal and learning the choreographing of the dance numbers. The cool thing about Dove Cameron was Dove Cameron had no dancing background whatsoever. She was just an actress, and her talent was wanted because in such high demand because she was just a fabulous actress. So she came to the Descendants franchise with no dancing background whatsoever. And how she had to learn everything step by step was absolutely incredible. Now, Kylie Cantrell, on the other hand, just exploded on the set of Descendants because she had a dance background, of course. Growing up in a dance home, her mom was a professional dancer, her dad was a professional producer. There was a lot of professionalism going on in that home. So Kylie Cantrell had a lot of support. And I can't forget to mention how supportive the fans were of Kylie Cantrell coming over from shows like Gabby Dern and the Unsittables, Raven's Home, High School Musical, the series for Disney+. I think everything Kylie Cantrell could have ever been a part of, she was. And I think she was one of the most honored Disney stars of this generation, which is why I will forever present the argument of how Kylie Cantrell should go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. I say this because last year I watched Miley Cyrus stand on a stage and accept the award for being the youngest Disney legend in history. So if she's the youngest Disney legend in history, where does that leave all your favorite Descendants stars? This new franchise, for how many awards they've garnered, how much attention they've been showed, definitely deserve the accolade of going down in history of being some of the greatest of all time. And I am here to ensure that that happens. How I'm going to ensure that happens is by uploading as many videos as I can about Descendants of Zombies, also to ensure that Zombies 5 happens a lot sooner than predicted for you guys, because 2028 seems like forever away. I mean, who wants to wait till 2028 for Zombies 5? I know the frustration that fans have, but Zombies 5 not happening until 2028. But even if that means that 2028 is forever away, I will post a video every day about zombies for you guys to help you make sense of zombies and why it's not happening until 2028. A story has to be developed, more songs have to be written into the score, so a lot has to be done. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and I think that's what a lot of the critics didn't realize about Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires when they were criticizing the music video for Place to Be. They just instantly started criticizing it without even giving it a chance, and that's what really frustrated me about the Zombies franchise, is because when you have a franchise represented by such beautiful characters that have meant so much to the franchise, like Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim, I think you really have to give it more of a chance and let it, expand off of what we've already seen. I mean, the trilogy was one way of looking at it, but Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires was such a powerful script, and the best script I think I've ever seen in my life. After I got to look at the script for Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, and I saw all these new characters coming into the franchise, Victor and Nova, I said, this is going to be something special. The cool thing about Victor and Nova was we didn't know much about them. We didn't know what their story was, what they were going to be faced with, what sort of conflict they were going to be head on with. But the thing is, whatever happened in Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, they were incredibly supportive of each other, which really demonstrated the value of how valuable a friendship is and how it can really stand the test of time. And we can go down in history for being some of the best friends with each other, even when we least expect it. Because I think more people now, more than ever, are given credit for are friends because of Zombies, are friends because of Descendants. And I've seen this, because on the set of Descendants, I mean, friendships like Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson have forever been profiled. They've forever been given the respect they deserve, and I think that more people are falling in love with the franchise because they also notice that about how Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson were forever and always supportive of each other. That's why I've kind of shied away from criticism towards Clarke and Malia Baker, because I didn't want to talk about that, because I noticed that their friendship was being profiled more than anything else happening for Descendants. But I think a lot of it had to do with how the chemistry was at an all-time high for Clarke and Malia Baker. They always showed up on the set of Descendants with a smile on their face. They always showed up at the Worlds Collide tour with a smile on their face, and I think that fans noticed that. And the fans of Descendants of Zombies, this is why I say the fans of Descendants of Zombies are so incredible. When they could have criticized people like Clarke and Malia Baker for how they were perceiving their friendship, you guys supported it. And that's what makes you the most unbelievable fans in the entire world. If there are 600,000 of you on YouTube, I just want to say this. I want to meet each and every one of you, and I want to have each and every one of you subscribe to this YouTube channel because of just how incredibly supportive you've been of Descendants of Zombies. Because without you guys, Descendants of Zombies would have never amounted to what it did. People like Ruby Rose Turner would have never been given a chance in this franchise. Because I think there are fans of Descendants of Zombies who are diehard fans of the original cast, who are still holding on to that belief that Dove Cameron somewhere, somehow, is going to reprise her role as Mel. And as much as I want that to happen for you guys, I'm trying to get into this new cast. I'm trying to support the cast perhaps more than I've supported any cast of the past of Descendants of Zombies, because I really do believe that more of a chance needs to be given to people like Kylie Cantrell and Sophia and Malia Baker, because I think that they've done a fabulous job bringing this franchise to life, and I will forever believe that. When you can take songs like Red and Get Your Hands Dirty, and a song like Life is Sweeter When You Are, which was a song used to introduce us to 13 different characters to give them emphasis, like Jasmine, Aladdin, and the Fairy Godmother, and you had a voice like Ruby Rose Turner on it. This was a cast that was full of so much talent and so much inspiration that it was unbelievable. It was a really fun time to be a fan of Descendants of Zombies. And even if you had never seen Descendants of Zombies ever before, this was the time to really fall in love with the franchise. Or even if you've watched the original Descendants, to fall in love with it all over again. It was described as a bubblegum type song that you would instantly fall in love with. And man, did I ever fall in love with it. I must have listened to that song 100 times off its premiere. And I don't know about you guys, but there was just something about Ruby Rose Turner's voice being on that song that just made it sound so perfect. I never felt so honored to be a part of a franchise and covering it, which made this summer the greatest summer of my life. And last summer, when the premiere of The Rise of Red happened, I was forever excited, and I was forever supportive of it. I must have reviewed The Rise of Red 100 times on this YouTube channel, and I garnered over 1,000 subscribers within the first probably 50 videos that I uploaded, and then came and another 150 videos and another 1,000 subscribers. It was really incredible what happened for this YouTube channel. It seemed to happen overnight. And I know there are people out there that will forever and always be supportive of the original cast of Descendants. I get that. And I saw that when I started talking about Dove Cameron on this channel and everybody started subscribing. Unquestionably, Dove Cameron was the first Descendants star who made me a celebrity overnight. But as time went on, I grew more appreciative of Kylie Contrell. I fell more in love with Kylie Contrell for just how Kylie Contrell was just on spot all the time. And the spotlight was always on her. And she was really starting to feel the pressure of, how people were feeling about her. And I was really starting to get to Kylie Contrell. I was seeing videos of her crying on social media, and I said, this is not good enough. When you have a star as talented as what Kylie Contrell is, she deserves to do anything but cry. She deserves to be focusing more on her priorities, which is her career, her family, her friends. And the thing was, I noticed about the Kylie Contrell videos where she was crying on social media was she was saying she missed her friends. That really touches my heart when Kylie Contrell reaches out to wanting to be around her friends and missing her friends and feeling the way she does. The critics really need to back off. I mean, this is a girl who's, 20 years old? She turned 20 this past June. So she doesn't really know a whole lot about life. She's trying to figure out her life, but she's also such a huge inspiration to so many people while she's figuring out her life. So is the right way to perceive Kylie Contrell with criticism? I don't think so. I think what we need to do is we need to come out being more supportive of Kylie Contrell, like all you guys did at the Worlds Collide Tour. I mean, I can never give you guys enough profound credit for showing the love and respect to Kylie Contrell that you did, because I think never enough love and support can be shown to someone like Kylie Contrell. So too can never enough love and support be shown to people like Malia Baker and Ruby Rose Turner. I will forever and always say that, because it just frustrates me how people just never want to give these stars a chance. I mean, let's be honest. Nobody ever wanted to give zombies a chance. Everybody was criticizing zombies. That broke my heart, too. Criticizing everything from music videos like Place to Be, Don't Mess With Us. It was quite awful. So what I wanted to do after I saw the music video for Place to Be last year was jump on the show. I jumped on the show literally 5 minutes after I saw the music video. I thought it was fabulous. A great way of introducing us to day walkers and night walkers. And I was perhaps the only guy on YouTube who saw anything nice about the Place to Be music video and the Don't Mess With Us music video. Who was one of the first guys to notice the chemistry that existed between Victor and Nova. And that's why I put it over with such prosperity. And it had a lot to do with you guys, too. I can't forget to mention you guys, because you guys were shouting out to me all the time in the comments saying, hey, check out Nova and Victor. Give them the respect they deserve because they are beautiful people. And you guys were right. Which showed me that the Descendants and Zombies universe know a lot more than they've ever been given credit for. Because if you're a fan of Descendants and Zombies, it's become very apparent to me that you know everything there is to know about the Descendants and Zombies universe. While I may know everything there is to know about Descendants and Zombies, about how Meg Donnelly's favorite color is orange, how they lived together for years and went to see Deadpool 2 in 2018, I know everything there is to know because I followed it, and I just wanted to show it the respect that it deserved from the very first moment I watched Descendants and Zombies. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I loved the franchise, and I loved what it represented. And I thought there was a lot of hope. There was a second chance represented in for everybody, no matter who you were, because I want you to know that there's always a second chance at hope for everybody out there. And everybody does eventually find their light. I really do believe that everybody does find their light, because it doesn't matter what your interests are, what you feel inspired by. That's what makes you unique. And I think that's what Descendants of Zombies has always and forever taught us, is that whatever your interests are, whatever separates you from the next person in line, makes you a unique person. And that's what creates diversity. Because the thing I've noticed about the Descendants of Zombies universe is it's people from all walks of life. It's not one specific age demographic or one denomination. It's people from all walks of life who feel inspired by Descendants of Zombies. And that gives me a profound amount of respect for who you are as a person. Because you see, I don't need to know who you are to know you're a good person. I know good people watch this show every single day who feel inspired from a video that I may upload about Descendants of Zombies, because I upload 3 to 4 podcasts every day about Descendants of Zombies because I love it so much, because I think never enough good things can be said about it. The thing is, Descendants of Zombies is touching the hearts of so many millions of people. That's why the Worlds Collide Tour sold out at virtually every venue this summer. Was because everybody loved it. Everybody loved it for the music, the story, how the crowd interacted with the fans. It was amazing how everybody just showed up at the Worlds Collide Tour with an unbelievable amount of energy and really brought this one to life. And the way that the stars interacted with the fans at the Worlds Collide Tour was mind-blowing to me. I would have loved, I say this because it was mind-blowing to me, and I would have loved the opportunity to have crowd surfed, to have been in the crowd, to experience this energy that all you guys brought to it. I've never seen Disney put off a concert production with such energy and such value behind it, and such a powerful message of how acceptance can really be achieved by anybody. I know we just started a new school year, you're feeling peer pressure, you're wondering if you're good enough kind of thing. And I think Descendants of Zombies is really teaching us the value of really, accepting you for who you are. While acceptance is always forever and always going to be hard for somebody to achieve, I think there's a point in time in your life when you have to accept yourself for who you are. And Descendants of Zombies really has showed us that it can really make a difference in somebody's life when they themselves believe in themselves. Because when somebody believes in themselves, the possibilities are really limitless. That's when it becomes limitless for a person to become stronger and to achieve more dreams than ever before. Because the thing about the Red character was the Red character never cared what anybody thought of her. All she wanted to do was go out and achieve something far greater than her mother ever wanted her to amount to. And so too did the stars of Zombies, because the recurring theme in Zombies was always acceptance. How true love can happen even for a girl and a zombie. And it really did. Descendants of Zombies was a beautiful production that really inspired us that no matter what you're going through in your life, you can have true love happen for you, and you can get to a point in your life where everything comes full circle for you. Kind of like how Zed and Addison, at the end of Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, when they shared that final kiss, which is forever the most memorable moment for me being a fan of Zombies, because I think I've lived my whole life out as a Descendants of Zombies fan to see them share that kiss at the top of that hill in New Zealand. I think it was a beautiful way to conclude their story, but as much as their story has been concluded, I've never wanted to believe that their story has been concluded, because I really do believe there is so much more of a story yet to be seen from Zed and Addison, and a story that I'm incredibly excited to be a part of. I'm really incredibly excited for the future of the Zombies franchise, because I really do believe that we will see those two return, because even though their story's been told and completed, and many people believe their story's been told and completed, I for one, I don't know. Because there's still so many unanswered questions. Okay, Zed and Addison have their story told and completed, but where does that leave them? Did they go on to have a family? Did they go on to spend more time with the ones they loved? What happened to them? Obviously, there'll be an explanation at the beginning of Zombies 5 as to what happened after the torch was passed. I know this was a moment that was building up for quite some time for Freya Skye and Malachi Burton to have the torch passed to them, which, by the way, I think they're going to do a fabulous job with carrying on the legacies of the zombie stars in the franchise, because this is all that Meg Donnelly and Mila Manheim have ever wanted, is for the legacies of this franchise to live on forever and always. And they have told us that they will have something to do with the franchise for however long it goes on to exist, which is going to be for a very long time, because I really do believe that if we're up to the fans of Descendants of Zombies, if you guys were the producers of it, this would never end. And I agree with you about how it should never end, because I've had this thing where I could never say goodbye to Disney franchises. I never ever wanted to say goodbye to Disney franchises, because I believe they've offered so much to the fans of Disney, and I think that they've offered so much inspiration. So, when franchises like High School Musical and Hannah Montana eventually got to a point where they had their series finale, well, I was crying buckets of tears. And you guys have got to believe me. I was crying non-stop when Hannah Montana and High School Musical saw their series finales. Because I've always had this thing about me where I've never ever wanted to say goodbye to anything. Even when classic Disney franchises like 101 Dalmatians and Beauty and the Beast said goodbye years ago, I was still crying, because I'm a really big fan of everything that Disney has. So to be here talking about Descendants of Zombies for each and every one of you really has been the greatest honor of my life, and it's an honor that I wouldn't choose anything else over. If I could talk about Descendants of Zombies, if I could go back in time and talk about Descendants of Zombies all over again, you guys had better believe that I would go back in time and I would talk about Descendants of Zombies all over again, because I think there's a certain prestige and a certain value that goes with talking about Descendants of Zombies, and if you don't show up on your show with that prestige that fans have in their hearts that's forever and always existed to talk about Descendants of Zombies, then you're really going to upset a lot of people. So what I've wanted to do is I've kind of wanted to take away the criticism that people like Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner have been faced with, and it's very noticeable to me, the criticism that they're faced with. I want to say this, my heart goes out to Kylie Cantrell, and my heart goes out to Ruby Rose Turner, who have been faced with so much criticism after donning the roles of Bridget and Red. Because I think that they've done such a fabulous job, and I just want to say this too, I think that anybody else that could have been casted in these roles wouldn't have done such a fabulous job. And I know how the process works. There are like 500 different auditions that go down for roles of Bridget and Red. But I think that Kylie Cantrell and Ruby showed up with so much passion to be these characters, and they really brought the best out of themselves and everybody they work with, and it was almost instantly noticed. It was almost like instant magic, just as fast as you could snap your fingers was noticed between Ruby and Kylie, because from the moment they stepped on that stage to audition for the roles of Bridget and Red, they knew they had it. Kind of like how years ago when Dove Cameron auditioned for the role of Mel, I mean, she knew she had it because of her overflowing of talent and her dedication to the role. Because if not for that dedication to the role, I don't think that people like Dove Cameron and Kylie Control would have ever been given the opportunities they were. But it was because all they ever wanted to do was entertain. All they ever wanted to do was be a part of something so special. And Descendants and Zombies gave them that opportunity. Forever and always, Descendants and Zombies will hold a special place in the hearts of Kylie, and Meg, and Milo, because they were meant to be this. They were meant to do this for each and every single person who was ever a fan of Disney. And I know I have a lot of people who watch these videos who are fans of Descendants and Zombies. Nobody can ever deny that. Because the reason why you're here is because you're a fan of Descendants and Zombies. And probably because I'm the only guy on YouTube who ever commentates on Descendants and Zombies. Because I remember the moments for their true value. I appreciate the story for what it's really meant to all of our lives. It's really offered us encouragement. It's really offered us inspiration to be fans of a franchise that has become so powerful and so revered. Because I can never remember High School Musical or Wizards being as revered as this. And if it was revered, I don't know about it, because I remember watching Wizards of Waverly from the very first episode of Wizards and seeing how far it went with the 4 seasons. Of course, that was a generation where Disney could never get past 4 seasons or a trilogy. And now Disney is going 4, 5, 6 installments, obviously with new cast members. I get that too. But I think there's a greater appreciation to be had for franchises now than there were probably 10 years ago, because Disney always had this issue with never getting past 4 seasons or trilogies. And now we're seeing Zombies 5, Descendants 5, probably Descendants 6, Descendants 7, what have you. But I am really excited to be here. For however long these trilogies last, or these franchises last, I should say, I'm really excited to be here for the foreseeable future, because I think never enough good things can be said about a franchise that has touched all of our hearts. I think that we really need to shy away from the criticism and shut them out, because they're just trying to make us believe what they want us to believe, and I don't think necessarily that's how it needs to go in our hearts, because I've always believed that forever and always our hearts are our best friend, and they've always shown us the way that we should go in our own lives. And I think that if you want to be a fan of Descendants and Zombies for just a little while longer, then there's nothing wrong with that, especially with how much performance level that Freya Sky is on right now, really in a position to take over as the next Taylor Swift. And I, for one, am incredibly excited to see where Freya Sky goes from here, because I see the dedication from her voice. I hear the dedication from her voice. I see her at this all-time performance level where she's so emotionally connected with everything she does. And that's what makes this so spectacular, is that she's so proud to be caught up in this moment. She's so proud to be performing for each and every one of you every single night on the Worlds Collide Tour. And that's where I have a tremendous amount of respect, and I see the value, and I see the dedication coming from Freya Sky's heart. Because there is a heart inside of her body, and it beats for each and every one of you, and you guys had better believe that. I know you do, because you're a big fan of Freya Sky. She was one of those stars that I know that forever and always you fell in love with, and you've been in love with for forever, just as you've been in love with Malachi Burton's portrayal of Victor. Because Nova and Victor, I do agree with each and every one of you, look really special. They look really amazing together, and I look forward to Zombie 6, Zombie 7, Zombies 8, and so on. I wish this franchise would last for forever, which is why I'm here. I'm here to ensure that these franchises do emphatically last forever, because I think there's no better way to celebrate the legacies and the lineage of Descendants of Zombies than by hoping they're going to last forever and doing what we can within our power to ensure that it does. Because, you know, there are way too many people on YouTube criticizing Descendants of Zombies for its true value. So many people are saying that they need to stop making Descendants of Zombies movies, and I'm here to tell you guys, no, they don't. I'm really excited about the future. I'm really excited to see an expansion off the stories we've already seen, because there's so much of a story yet to be told about Descendants of Zombies. With this new franchise for zombies, I'm incredibly excited for the future, and I'm incredibly excited to be a part of it. And I've never felt so honored to be your voice of Descendants of Zombies. Talking about Descendants of Zombies has been the greatest honor of my life. And when I see everybody subscribing to this YouTube channel, it makes this experience really worth it. Guys, thank you so much for all the love and support you've shown this YouTube channel. I will return later on this afternoon with another podcast with my thoughts on Descendants of Zombies in it. and I hope you will hit my subscribe, my like buttons, because you too love the show and you see the appreciation for Descendants and Zombies coming from a guy who's been a fan of Descendants and Zombies for really what feels like forever. Really feels like an eternity. I've never felt so honored to be your voice of Descendants and Zombies, and I have a whole lot more to say where Descendants and Zombies goes, and I hope you will join me for it. On the official Descendants and Zombies podcast, I am your voice of Descendants and Zombies, Jonathan Clarke, here to remind you that the only way to be in this life is to really stay calm and zombie on, because there's no other way to be or perceive yourself in this lifetime. And as long as you stay calm and zombie on, well, I guess everything is going to be okay. Be kind to one another, because kindness really does go a long way in this world. We will talk more about Descendants and Zombies throughout this afternoon and into this evening. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I love you guys so much, man.